Good evening and welcome to the Public Service Committee. Welcome to those listening online and those present tonight. I call this meeting of the Public Service Committee to order at 5:42 p.m. Are there any amendments to the previous minutes?
Move to approve.
Second. Motion has been made to approve minutes in a second. Those in favor say aye.
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 No. Minutes are approved. The only agenda item we have on for tonight is commercial pedal cars presented by Jim David. If you'd like to come forward and present, please.
Good afternoon, Jim David, City Council staff. Per council request some time back, this presentation will highlight what a commercial pedal car is, how are they regulated currently in Sioux Falls, and how are other cities regulating this form of business. This is taken directly from one of the manufacturer, maybe it's the manufacturer of the commercial pedal cars. It's been known as a pedal pub. It has several different names depending on the locality that you live. It's a non-motorized vehicle bicycle that holds up to 17 people. It's invented in the Netherlands with 5 pedal seats per side. 10 pedalers propel the vehicle up to 5 miles per hour on flat surfaces with grades up to 6%. A bench in the rear and 2 additional seats providing seating for 5 passengers. The final spots are taken up by a driver who sits in the front at the wheel, and even room for a bartender who serves patrons while standing on the lower deck that runs through the length. This a pedal car would be covered under the Vehicle for Hire Ordinance, which I know that many of you are familiar with going through it some time back. But they are considered a vehicle for hire because they accept money for transportation purposes, which means that they would have to go through a background check. They're going to have a driver's license, a business license, $1 million general liability insurance. And since they're not specifically defined in ordinance, they're considered a general vehicle for hire. Also, all applicable motor vehicle laws would apply, such as stopping at stop lines, at stop lights, stop signs, yielding for pedestrians. Also in the city ordinance, there is a section that deals with parks downtown, and when it comes to alcoholic beverages, alcohol consumption is prohibited in Falls Park, in Faywick Park, or any property located adjacent to within 500 feet of the Big Sioux River between Falls Park Drive and the Cliff Avenue Bridge, and this is for park property or the Greenway. The carrier license, this is a license that allows a business such as a limousine, a bus, a taxi cab, or even a commercial pedal car to provide alcohol, malt beverage, liquor. It's a state-issued license from the Department of Revenue and entitles required for any business that transports people for a fee and wishes to serve alcohol. It's $100 for this license, and it was amended earlier in 2014 to allow local restrictions. This law did become effective July 1st. Staff looked at some other ordinances across the country. Minneapolis and St. Paul had fairly similar ordinances. The idea for actually calling it a commercial pedal car came from the St. Paul ordinance, and they define it as a non-motorized, human-powered vehicle similar to a bicycle which transports passengers on seats attached to the bicycle and can be propelled by 5 or more passengers. A pedal car or a commercial pedal car business is a business that operates the commercial pedal car. Some of the examples of regulations when it comes to safety in the St. Paul ordinance was requiring an initial, annual, and periodic inspections such as tires, horns, brakes, headlights, taillights, mirrors, turn signals. They limit the hours of operation. They cannot operate between 3:30 and 5:30 p.m. on weekdays, excluding holidays, and between 10 p.m. and 10 a.m. unless they have a special event waiver. They're also prohibited from using the sidewalk. A route and a parking plan must be pre-approved by the city. There's a general $1 million liability insurance similar to what it currently exists in ordinance. It must provide one off-street parking space for every 4 passenger seats, and it's prohibited from using public streets or property as a waiting area unless the area is a legal motor vehicle parking area. St. Paul also states that a driver is prohibited from consuming or providing the alcoholic beverages while he or she is operating the vehicle, and they may operate in public parks with prior Parks Department approval. Glass bottles are prohibited, amplified sound is prohibited, liquor is prohibited, and required to manage the behavior of their passengers. I've asked Jamie Plumber, our licensing specialist, just to give some more detail on the carrier license that's issued from the Department of Revenue.
Good evening, Jamie Plummer with licensing. I did speak with Carol Logan today, and the reason I did so is Carol Logan at the Department of Revenue in Pierre is actually the issuer of the carrier's license. I don't touch those. I don't know that they're going out. I have really nothing to do with them. So I basically called her to just confirm some of the questions that were coming up. And so I'll just briefly go over what we discussed. A carrier is defined, and Jim David went over this, as a person who for hire transports passengers and who sells or furnishes to passengers for consumption alcoholic beverages aboard any means of conveyance. So their means of conveyance is obviously their pedal bike. There is a law, 35-1-5.6. Says consumption of alcoholic beverages on on-sale premises, which a carrier's license is considered an on-sale premise, from which a beverage not purchased is a misdemeanor. And what that means is they cannot, being they're an on-sale premise, they're required by law to purchase their alcohol from a wholesaler. And so in summary and altogether, that means that they cannot have alcohol on their premise that hasn't been purchased by a wholesaler, nor can they pick someone up on the street that has a bottle of beer in their hand and jump on and bring that bike is their on-sale premise, which means that they can't let alcohol off of it that they have sold to their customers, nor can they let alcohol on it that they haven't sold to their customers. So if that clarifies anything, if you have any other questions, I can certainly. And then one more point I want to add too is that I did confirm that that carrier's license does allow them to sell beer, wine, and distilled spirits. So all three, whatever they choose to sell.
I have a couple questions
Sure.
for you then. Based on what you just, if anybody else, does anybody have questions for Jamie? I'm sorry. No. So if I am picked up by the Pedal Pub at a particular business downtown, I go inside, they have a patio outside where you can consume a beverage of your choice, and I take that and on the Pedal Pub, is that acceptable? Or it has to be purchased from that particular business on there and cannot be removed from there? Is that how I'm understanding that?
Correct. Yeah, the business downtown shouldn't let that alcohol leave their licensed premise, nor should the Pedal Pub let that alcohol come onto their premise. So both parties need to be, they need to be better about. I got to keep. If I sell this alcohol, it's got to stay here, and vice versa. If someone gets off the Pedal Pub and goes into a business, that business better say, no, you cannot come in here with that alcohol. But they really shouldn't even get off of it off the Pedal Pub with it, because They are a licensed premise. So that clarifies things.
Okay. Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions or comments? Nope. I would just suggest, thank you for the information to both Jamie and Jim, and appreciate the information. I know this is a new and exciting type of business that has been brought to downtown. And I know a lot of the businesses downtown that I've physically went and talked to are excited about this and excited about the potential impact it could have on downtown and just offer a different attraction, if you will. If there's no other comments or questions, I will take an action for adjournment, or if there's any open discussion. Okay, I will
Move to adjourn.
move to adjourn. We are concluded at 5:53. Thank you.